This is the Oakland Coliseum. For nearly 60 years, it stood at the heart of American sport.
Oakland Alameda County Coliseum, also known as Ring Central Coliseum.
A concrete cauldron of championship parades and packed crowds that helped define an entire city. But buildings tell stories, and the story this stadium tells now is one of abandonment. The departures came one by one. The Warriors left first for a glittering new arena across the bay. The Raiders followed, seduced by the spectacle and subsidies of Las Vegas. And now, the last tenant is gone. After the 2024 season, the Oakland Athletics will abandon their longtime home, moving first to a temporary minor league site before settling permanently in the Nevada desert. For the first time since 1966, the lights are off and the seats are empty. On 112 acres of some of the most contested land in the Bay Area, a question hangs in the air that no one has yet answered. Now that the last team is gone, what happens to the Coliseum? Please take a moment to subscribe and like the video. It really helps the channel. To understand the scale of the failure, you have to stand here. This is not simply an empty stadium. It is an institutional carcass, a once beloved civic complex trapped in slow decay. The Coliseum still sits beside its attached arena, surrounded by oceans of asphalt that once overflowed with tailgaters and crowds. Everything about the place feels oversized for a purpose that no longer exists. For most aging structures, the solution would be clear: a demolition order, followed by a blank slate. But this site is far too valuable for such a simple ending. The fate of the Coliseum isn't just about deteriorating concrete. It is about how a stadium built to be everything ultimately became nothing anyone still wanted. When the Coliseum opened in 1966, it was a triumph of mid-century pragmatism. The goal was straightforward: create one stadium that could host both baseball and football without compromise. The designers sunk the field below street level to improve sightlines and block the relentless Bay Area winds. Movable seating decks allowed the bowl to expand and contract depending on the sport, shifting capacity from around 50,000 for baseball to over 60,000 for football. Conversion between games could happen in days rather than weeks. Even the transport logistics were considered, with a dedicated pedestrian bridge linking the stadium directly to the regional transit hub. In its era, the Coliseum was efficient, flexible, and smartly designed. But the very traits that made it successful would become the source of its downfall. Multi-purpose construction always demands sacrifice. For baseball fans, the outsized foul territory pulled spectators far from the game. For football, there were few premium suites and none of the corporate luxury that the modern NFL increasingly demands. The breaking point came in the mid-1990s, when Oakland made a desperate play to bring the Raiders back from Los Angeles. The city committed to a massive renovation, resulting in the 10,000-seat addition known as Mount Davis. The colossal green structure rose behind the outfield like a wall, blocking sweeping views of the Oakland Hills and destroying the stadium's aesthetics. What was once an open civic venue became boxed in and dimmed, its integrity sold for a hurried business deal. A decade later, even baseball attendance could no longer justify the scale of the building. In 2006, the Athletics covered the entire upper deck with tarps, reducing capacity to barely 34,000 seats, among the smallest in the major leagues. The stadium built to do everything had become obsolete at all of it. By the late 2010s, the decline accelerated. The infrastructure was failing, and the financial model was collapsing. The Warriors left for Chase Center, a privately financed arena built on pre-sold luxury seating and tech sector sponsorships. The Raiders followed, relocating to Las Vegas, powered by nearly $750 million in public subsidies and a tourism economy designed to bankroll spectacle. The A's were the final holdouts. Their lifeline was the Howard Terminal Project, a proposed waterfront ballpark tied to a massive mixed-use development that included affordable housing, restaurants, parks, and retail. The approvals came, but the complexity grew. Infrastructure costs ballooned. Negotiations between the team's ownership and city leadership soured. Trust evaporated. The vision collapsed under its own weight. In 2024, the announcement became official. The Athletics would leave Oakland after the season, spending 3 years in a minor league park in West Sacramento before settling into a 30,000-seat stadium on the Las Vegas Strip, backed by roughly $380 million in public funding. The economics of modern sport had made the decision ruthless and unstoppable. What disappeared was never fan support. When the threat of departure became real, Oakland responded with the reverse boycott. Thousands filled the Coliseum wearing Cell shirts, sending a clear message that demand was not the issue. Ownership was. Fans organized parking lot boycotts to cut gate revenue and draw attention to the team's direction. But they were fighting forces far larger than themselves. Corporate hospitality, private equity sports ownership, and publicly subsidized mega venues had rewritten the rules. Community loyalty could not compete with luxury suite revenue. The land beneath the Coliseum has become as complicated as the stadium above it. Originally, ownership was split evenly between the city of Oakland and Alameda County. In 2019, an athletics affiliate purchased the county's half for $85 million. 5 years later, the city sold its remaining 50% stake for $105 million to the African American Sports and Entertainment Group, known as AASG. Their ambitions extend far beyond professional sports. The group has since negotiated to acquire the A's remaining share for approximately $125 million, positioning itself to gain full control of all 112 acres of the site. What's proposed is a redevelopment on the same scale as the Coliseum's original ambition. AASG has outlined a multi-phase project exceeding $5 billion built around a housing-first strategy. Thousands of new homes would rise on the site, at least a quarter of them mandated as affordable units. Hotels, retail, public spaces, and an outdoor amphitheater would follow, while the adjacent Oakland Arena would remain active. The goal is to replace a dead sports complex with a fully functioning transit-connected neighborhood. The Coliseum Bowl itself won't vanish immediately. For now, it remains a potential working asset for soccer, concerts, or community events. Its final fate still undecided. The challenges are formidable. Unlike the revitalized waterfront districts that have rejuvenated cities from San Francisco to Baltimore, the Coliseum site offers no dramatic shoreline. It is surrounded by industrial zones and lower-income neighborhoods with median wages far below regional averages. This development cannot depend on luxury events or tourist dollars alone. It must become a real place where people live, work, and build community, driven by social and commercial gravity rather than stadium traffic. Where the Coliseum failed to evolve with the economics of professional sport, its replacement must succeed by embracing a completely different purpose. The closure of the Oakland Coliseum marks the end of an era when civic architecture anchored local identity and communal pride through sport. Teams left not because the fans deserted them, but because markets like Las Vegas and corporate hubs like San Francisco now offer financial models Oakland simply can't match. The middle-class fan economy that once sustained this stadium has been replaced by luxury suites and sponsorship packages. The Coliseum is finished. The land remains. The question has changed from who will play here to what will be built here. The future of this enormous all-purpose machine now rests with developers promising a $5 billion transformation. The best-case scenario is a connected new district defined by housing and opportunity. The worst case is more empty asphalt, waiting for another forgotten dream. The builders of the 21st century now inherit the challenge that defeated the stadium of the 20th: